Hello, welcome back to the couple of episodes in to our launch of It's Not Just a Tuesday podcast. I am your host, Andrea Walker-Leidy. This is the podcast that talks about all things work and life and the stories that connect us all. I'm super excited to have a podcast pro with me and someone who is really used to sharing entrepreneurs and coaches connect with their audiences and really be able to align their messaging with the business that they want. So welcome to Ann Carden. I am so thrilled to have you. Ann and I are kind of the perfect example of the fact that podcasts and social media work because that's how we met and that's how we know each other. If you have a strong social media presence or any social media presence, you have the opportunity to connect with people anywhere, anyhow, that become colleagues and friends. And I love that. So welcome, Ann. And thank you so
I'm
much.
super excited to be here. I know we're going to have so much fun.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. So I want to jump right in because I know that
Do
we
it.
could talk for a long time. I want to jump right in because we have you. I want you to first just talk to me a little bit about your career journey and where you've been along the way and what stories really impacted you. But then tell us a little bit about what you do now and how you work with businesses because it's very unique and really cool.
I'll try to make this as short as possible because I'm going to be telling my age as I talk about 40
Ah,
plus years in
no, put it
business
in months
marketing and
instead of
sales.
right? It could be months instead of years. You just worked a couple
Yes,
months. There
there
we
we
go.
go. So I was in corporate for 13 years in business management, left that career to be a stay-at-home mom. Made a move across the country with my husband, and we bought a home in a little bitty town where there was no opportunity, and my husband's paycheck didn't work. Um, and there was a turning point in my life when my 4-year-old son needed shoes, and I sat down and cried because we did not have the money. And I started praying for an answer, started my first business. It was just supposed to be a little bit of extra money to help my family, turned into a full blown global business. Now, this was 30 plus years ago. So, again, I'm telling my age, but before the internet, before computers, and was able to take that business global. And it was a doll. I designed my own dolls, craft dolls,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I was basically running a manufacturing company out of my home. And the great thing about that was I got to impact other families because I had a lot of moms working for me. I had a lot of senior ladies working for me. And so it was like people coming in and out of my house all the time.
Right.
And so did that for 7 years. In the process, had gained 50 pounds. And when I sold that business, I sold my designs. So I sold my designs out to a pattern company. I saw the market shifting and
Mhm.
changing, and I didn't know what my next thing was going to be. But I had kind of hit this kind of depressed because I wasn't sure what my next thing was going to be, and I had already become an entrepreneur by that point. Actually, my first business was when
You
I was
got
about
the
7. So
you got the bug.
well, I grew up in my dad was always an entrepreneur, and I started my first
Awesome.
business when I was probably 7 or 8. So, anyways, we won't go back that far, but,
So
so I decided to start taking better care of myself, eating right, losing the weight, and through that, I fell in love with fitness, and so 2 health clubs, 2 weight loss centers later, sold all of those,
my gosh.
was in that industry for 20 years and sold all of that. And then I got into business coaching because I worked with a business coach in my last 2 businesses before I sold those.
Okay.
And I just knew it was so impactful for my business and for me. I knew it was my next thing. And I thought, where have you been all my other businesses? Because it was so valuable and impactful. And I knew that I wanted that to be my next thing. So I've been doing coaching now for about 14 years, I guess. So yeah. But marketing and sales is a heavy side of what I do, but I also do help people generate, with the revenue side of business, profitability side of business. So really A to Z,
Yeah.
but I love the marketing and sales piece of it because it is the driver for businesses. And so
So
a lot of what I do now is around that, but it's
okay.
it's really helping brilliant people be able to build a very lucrative business, but also be seen, be heard, not be the best kept secret, but really be trailblazers. Those are the people that I love to work with.
I love that. Me too. Um, talk to me a little bit about the types of people that you work with, and really, I think you said, like, where have you been all my life, right? But you've been in different types of businesses, right? I think there's those common things that we see no matter what your business is. There's the common thread of the things that we miss in business. What do you feel like are those things that people are missing, and really those aha moments for you when you're working with clients?
When I really, so there are really two things that I'm just a believer in that I've learned through all of these businesses, building these. And um, there are two things really. One is I always say be premium or go premium. I see so many people race to the bottom to be a Walmart when they could be an Neiman Marcus, or they could be a Nordstrom's, or they could be something else. And what I found through all my businesses is when I went premium, that's where the real money was. Even though the market wasn't as big, even though you didn't have loads, thousands of people for whatever it was you were doing, you made more money with a simpler business. So I learned that many, many years ago. And I've taught that same strategy to plumbing companies, roofing companies. I mean, you name it. I've worked in over 70 plus industries
Okay.
as a business coach. And so I took that same philosophy and I applied it to other people's businesses. Like, let's elevate you into the blue ocean. You don't need to be fighting everyone else in the mainstream. Let's move you into being looked at as the best. You can't just say you're the best. How do people see you as the best,
Right.
right? And so moving you into sort of that blue ocean. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I learned in all the years, and really even when I was in corporate, is I was never afraid to step into the spotlight. Every business I started was because I got out there, I spoke, I got on stages, I talked to people.
Yeah.
I was at the front of the room. It didn't matter if it was a networking event or whatever it was. I made my way to the front of the room. And I
Hmm.
always looked for the influential people to build relationships with.
Hmm.
And that alone can catapult someone's
Yeah.
business. So many people are afraid to do that. They're afraid to step up. The reality is you're not going to have confidence until you start doing that. It's like a
100%.
muscle
Yes.
that you work. When you don't go to the gym one time, do a bicep curl and go, "Oh, hey, look at my muscle," right?
Right?
It takes practice. It takes you going back, a little bit of pain, going back over and over again. But
Yes.
those are the two things that truthfully can impact any business in such
Love
an
that.
incredible way.
Well, I think we see that now. People are starting to get it, I think. And so, now we have fancy names for it, like thought leadership and personal branding and all of
Mm.
that. Those words that we hate, but nobody's come up with a better way to say it yet. And so, I do a lot of work with folks on thought leadership and their brand and things like that. And it really does just come down to, your stuff. Don't be
Exactly.
scared to be the person who is the expert. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
seeing you're expert in you, that is true, right? We're the only people who can be the expert in what we do and how we do it. And so I think I'm
100%.
always trying to get people to really embrace that and feel empowered in the thing that makes them them. Um,
Exactly.
so, you've worked with tons of businesses. I love that the business coach that I work with, who will be, she'll be with us next month. Um, she says the riches are in the niches. And I think it's the cool, that's exactly what you're saying, right? It's the finding out who your audience is and then talking right to them, right?
Yes.
It's the marriage between, I think, what I do and what you do, right? It's deciding who the audience is, and then what do I need to say to them? How do
Yes.
I actually speak their language and get it right? What stories do they want to hear? What do you feel like what do you feel like are the things that would be, the confidence builders for businesses? What do you wish they were more confident in?
I mean, I really believe that if you're going to be in business, you have to be willing to step out and get uncomfortable and build relationships and get to know people. Here's the thing, if you can get on stages or if you can get at the front of the room, and it doesn't matter even if you go speak at a chamber or a Rotary Club, it makes no
Yep.
difference.
Yep.
It's all visibility. And
Mhm.
if you're not willing to build your visibility, And if you don't believe in your service, why should someone else? If you don't believe in what you have, why should someone else? And I think the days are gone when, a lot of people call themselves founders, owners, CEOs, whatever you want to call yourself. But I really believe that the strongest brands, the CEO, the person driving the company, is out in front. They are the
100%.
charismatic
Yes.
voice.
Yes.
And I believe that it's changed. No longer is it sit in an office and expect advertising and all of those things to do the work for you.
Right.
If you think about like Elon Musk, or you think about, you know, Jeff Bezos, or you think about Russell Brunson, you think about
Mhm.
any Tony Robbins, any of those
Yep.
people, they are the
That,
face
yeah.
of their business.
Yeah.
And yet they have big teams, and they have, millions or billions of dollars, and they are still the face of their
Mhm.
business. And I just think that is the world we are in.
Yeah.
And the more people are willing, to me, it's going to be just a really, it's not even a negotiable anymore. I
No,
believe
not.
that it's a necessity
Yeah.
if you're going to be in business. And so if you're not willing to embrace that, I
Mhm.
think you're going to have a harder time,
Yeah.
really, because I mean, you just can't put a price on that. But I
Right.
think people have to really understand that that's the way of business, where people want to know, like, and trust a brand, where they
Yeah.
want to know, like, and trust a person. And it's just, it's so important in the marketplace today.
Yeah. Well, so many of the people that talk to me or come to me and are like, "We don't know what to do." Usually it is they're throwing out stuff, but they're not
Yes,
talking about who they are, right?
yes,
They're doing the thing that's the latest trend in social media or advertising or marketing campaigns, but without the heart that goes behind it, you know?
sure.
And we've I don't know where we lost the connection of um marketing is connection and the stories
Yes,
and things like that. I think we've talked about, and I talked about in my book, um, when you see a golden M, you have a connotation and you think about, a commercial that you've seen, or you think about eating fries as a kid, you think about that toy that you got with the Happy Meal, right? It for you as a person, everything has a feeling, right? Everyone knows that when you walk in and you smell a certain smell, you think of your grandma or you think of whatever. So if we know that that's how we relate to the world, is moment and touch and feelings, then of course that's how everyone else is going to relate to the world. Of course
sure.
that's how we connect with each other, are those pieces, those moments, right? I can't put the smell of of something on the internet, but I can explain to you how I felt when I did have that experience. And I think
Right.
that's the part that you're right. It's non-negotiable for people to share those experiences in whatever way they feel comfortable with. A lot of folks say, they're scared to step out. They're scared to get out there. Like you said, start small, but do something, right? Start with a networking group or start with a chamber of commerce, just saying, "Hi, my name is, and this is what I love about what I do."
Yeah. And I think that's so important. And I love everything you're saying about telling stories. And that's so important. You want people to really get to know you, because
Mhm.
people are going to buy into, again, not to be cliche, but they're going to buy, from people they know, like, and trust, or
Yeah.
brands they know, like, and trust. But the other side of this, and I'm talking about this really more from maybe a solopreneur or someone
Mhm.
who's building a personal brand. The one, I want to talk about a gap here, Andrea, and this is where you and I, where what we do merges very, very well, because people do need for people to know them, to like them, to trust them. But I do see a gap with a lot of people in their social media, with their online presence, with all the things they're doing.
Mhm.
And that is, they might be doing a great job storytelling. They're doing a good job promoting other people. They're doing a good job getting the engagement, but I don't have a clue what I can buy from them.
Right.
And that is not going to help them either. And
Yep.
so it's
Yep.
really important. To me, they just look like they're all over the place. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't even know how to do business with you. And I certainly don't know how to support you in your business, because
Right.
I don't even know what you do.
Yeah.
And so there has to be a merge of
That's
the
so
two
good.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I just wanted to bring that up, because from your side, what you're doing with them is super powerful, and it is a missing piece for a lot of people. But also what I do with people is a missing piece for a lot of people.
Yes.
They're either doing what you're doing and none of what I do, or they're doing what I do and they're
Oh,
doing none of what you
yeah.
do, right? And it takes both. It takes
Yeah.
both of those things to really build your business with it.
It really does. And I often, I had a call with a new client earlier this week, and they said we're nervous about the ROI of doing public relations work or social media work and all of that. And I said, okay. I said, because they've been in business for a very long time, family owned business, amazing business, but they have relied on traditional advertising and marketing for a long time, where you can see the return, right? It's a
Right.
direct mail. It's an ad on the radio. It's direct, tangible advertising that has a call to action. And they said, we've shied away from doing more organic or new forms of marketing because we just don't know how to see the ROI. And I said, well, have you ever sat down and made that strategy for communications or social media or storytelling a part of your sales plan? I said that, I think the next gap is that people like me aren't sitting down with the sales team and
Mm-hmm.
saying, what are the goals here?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we are in business, as much as we all love what we do, we also are here to make some money.
That's right.
And so, we're even a nonprofit, right? They're there to raise funds. I work with tons of nonprofits. They're there to serve something. They have a
Right.
mission, but they also need the funds to do that. And so, if 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 my hand is not talking to yours first, but also talking to that sales department or whoever makes the goals and saying, what are the goals right now? What are we trying to do so that the story aligns with the message? It's that chicken and egg of, do we tell the story first or do we make the ask first? And
Yeah.
there's actually no before or after. You can do it all at the same time, but only if everyone's communicating really well together and actually know what those goals are. So I love it. In my perfect world, somebody has spent some time doing the deep dive with you and really feels strong and confident in their brand, in what they sell, in their price points, all those things. And then they're like, and now what? Right? Most of what
Right.
I do is, and now what? And then they come to me and they say, okay, I've got all this stuff I'd like somebody to come in and have. What do we do? And I can say, okay, let's talk about this here, and then ask them to call you. Let's align you with this partner who has an audience that you want to reach, and really make that strategy creative and fun so that they can actually accomplish a sales goal. I think we have this illusion that advertising is like a specific ROI and a KPI and all that. If a lot of clicks, to your point, if somebody's getting to your website all the time, but they don't have the package to buy, or your
Right.
package is priced too low, you're still not going to get there.
And I would just like to speak to that for just a minute, because here is one thing that people don't realize in business. Being around for 30 plus years in business, if you want to be sustainable, marketing has a short game and a long game.
Yep.
And when people are only advertising for the now buyers, that's the short game of marketing.
Mhm.
Yes, you absolutely need that. You've got to
Mhm.
drive revenue in the door. But the long game is sort of the invisible side of marketing. It's when I say invisible, it's it's more visible, except that it brings invisible ROI. So
Yeah.
here's an example. One of the things I teach people is, look, when you build a really powerful premium brand, and you're seen that way, and people see you as um, a trailblazer, a mover and a shaker, a business that it is just the best of the best, that brings you an ROI that you may not realize that is bringing you that ROI. But guess what? It's going to lower your advertising cost,
Yes.
because now you don't have to advertise as much. You're
Yep.
going to be seen as, again, the best. And if you think about it, people talk about the best, right?
Yes.
And so it in a way, it is an invisible return on your
It is.
investment, and you can use that if you want to, Andrea.
I will. It is.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's
people
the
have to realize it takes
longevity.
both.
Yeah.
It takes both.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it really does. And you know, the invisible return.
Yeah.
Um, because you know, we know people will talk about their favorite restaurant or the thing that they
Sure.
tried
Yes.
or did you hear about this? Have you checked this out?
Mhm.
You know, that word of mouth spreads, whether it's organically in person or on social, but it is the longevity of that long, you know, the long game marketing,
Yes.
that's not visible. But I think, you know, I always correlate it now to billboards, right? If somebody's driving by a billboard quick, they aren't scanning a code. They're
No.
driving, so hopefully they're not visiting your website right now. You know, long game marketing is the billboard. The investment is what are we doing for the long term? It's the visibility
Yes.
and awareness. You know, nobody wants to have to buy a new vacuum. But when they do buy a new vacuum, they've seen Hoover billboards, and that name
Right.
has a long-standing reputation that says
Yes.
this is what we do.
Yeah.
So I want to do some in real time. It's not just a Tuesday storytelling. We're going to take some time with everybody and do this. I want you to talk to me a little bit about what's on your calendar. It's a question that I ask every client. It's a big part of how we do story cultivation and how I hope that people are learning how to cultivate their story, make the marketing asks, and integrate all of that into their normal life, but really just change our thinking that every Tuesday is not just a Tuesday. It's a part of your story. It's a part of your journey. So I've asked you to come and pull your calendar up and tell me what was on your calendar last Tuesday. And it might be something that you've shared, or it might be something that you maybe just told a friend or family about. Whatever that looks like, talk to me about your calendar, and let's give some real time
Yeah.
Tuesday storytelling.
I love this. So much fun. So here is so I went to Phoenix last weekend. I flew out on Friday and got back on Sunday. And I went because I'm launching a brand new Expert in You magazine to build up the media side of my business.
So
So on
exciting.
Tuesday, I had a meeting with the person that I was going to be meeting that I'm working with for my magazine. Had a
Okay.
meeting with that. And yes, I did talk about it. I've been talking about it because
Yeah.
I'm so excited
I don't
about
have
it.
to
And
worry about wondering if you're talking about stuff
yeah,
that's on
I
your
know, and
calendar.
I did I also shared photos, like, that we snapped with my
I
phone
love it.
behind the scenes, and this is a big one for people too. People love to see stuff behind the scenes, so I
Yes.
shared unedited photos on
Yep.
LinkedIn, on Facebook, so people could kinda see behind the scenes, see the photographer shooting me in the studio, and see all the different sets in the studio. I just think that kind of stuff is interesting for people. So that was one thing, and then some of the other things were clients. I
Okay.
met with, I had clients, and I'm always sharing stories about this client or that client without
Yeah.
obviously giving their name, but
Right.
I'm always sharing what came up in our conversation and how
Yep.
that can impact other people. So there you have it.
I love it. Yeah. There was no way that I was going to catch you in a did you share this? Because we're connected on social media, so I know you share your stories really well. Well, it's such a good example of um you know, that's your everyday life. I mean, yes, you're working on something pretty exciting right now with the magazine, and so you have big news to share all the time, even in a meeting. But working with clients is a big deal, right? And I think people forget that if you're working, that means one, you're successful, and two, people want to work with you. And three, it's an opportunity to tell people what you did with that client. And now I
Yeah.
know what you do, right? And so we often forget that it's not just a Tuesday. If you're meeting with clients, that means that your business is successful today. If you went on a job or sold a package or had a meeting for a new something, that means that you were successful today. And whether that's a little win or a big win, it's to be shared. The other thing I think people forget is it's okay to not only share the wins, right? We
It's
know that
okay to share
social
the
media is a place
yes,
where sometimes we are worried that it doesn't look authentic.
yes,
And so, I'm really strategic in in the fact that I want to share my story and be authentic about it. That's part of my strategy. Is I just want people to know me because I want them to get to me already knowing who they're going to work with or a really good
yes,
sense of it, right? And I think the
100%.
more we can all do that, the
Mhm.
more we get that client that is, like, ready to work with us
Yeah.
because they already feel like they know. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, in talking about your business owner that you were talking to, one of the main things about media and building your brand and that long game that we were discussing, sharing your story, that kind of thing. One of the things that when we talk about an invisible ROI,
Mhm.
people come pre-sold. They're already pre-sold. It's, if
Yes.
you think about, if you have ever heard someone speak on a stage, or somebody is a speaker, what is your instant thought about that person? That you look at them, they have more credibility, that you automatically trust them
Yeah.
more. Well, it is the same thing when you have a strong brand. When you've
Yes.
built that up, you're sharing your stories, you're sharing things, you're peeking, letting people peek behind the curtain, you're doing all of those things, you are building trust in
Yeah.
your customer, in your client, and you're letting your marketing do the heavy lifting for you. And a lot of people are really not looking at it that way.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what's the ROI? What's the ROI? And they really are not seeing that.
Right.
It was, when people come to me and they book on my calendar, they've already checked me out at my
Yeah.
YouTube channel,
Yeah.
they've looked at all the stuff, they've seen me out there, and I don't have to convince them to buy
Right.
from me, or I don't have to sell them. And that is the power of what you're talking about.
Yes.
So is it invisible in some ways, but
Mhm.
does it do the heavy lifting and pre-sell people? 100%.
Yeah. Well, I think it's invisible in, in those results that we're used to try. I wanna push people a little farther and say, "Why aren't you on the stage?"
Exactly.
The first episode of the podcast, I did it on my own, and I tell the story. So if for my 7 viewers and listeners who have already listened to a couple, right? They've heard this, that the moment, and I decided, I was like, I'm gonna be really honest right now. The moment that I was getting ready to launch the podcast, I had a complete freeze, and I thought, I shouldn't do this. I'm not good enough. I have nothing to talk about. No one's going to listen to this. No one's going to want to be interviewed, whatever. And I thought, no, I'm just going to do it anyway. And I knew that would happen. And so I finished my marketing for it before I recorded the first one. And I said, I put a launch date, a launch month, everything, right? And so the only thing, to your point, keeping us from being the person who's visible is just stepping out,
That's
stepping
it.
out and being willing
That's
to
it.
say, "Hi, this is who I am." And I just, you know, I
You
love.
can't create magic in your comfort zone.
Mm-mm.
And you can't do big things, and you can't be a
No,
mover and shaker if you're
no.
sitting back and
Yeah,
you're letting other people take the spotlight, and you're letting other people take your market share.
right.
And that's ultimately what people are doing. They're letting
Yeah.
other people take their market share.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Well, and I think we get nervous, right? Is it there are
Stop it.
people who are, they go viral, right? And I tell people all the time,
You don't have to go
what does
viral.
viral mean for you?
Right.
Right? If you have the capacity for 4 clients, then going viral for you would mean you reach 7 people and 4 people buy, right?
Yes. And
It's the weighing piece of it they do with you that defines the actual market sales goal. And then, oh wait, you know what? I don't need to be on the cover of CNN. I just need to reach my local community, right?
right.
It's setting
Right.
those goals that actually are part of your plan, your
Yes.
goals, your mission.
That's so important too, that people really put things in perspective. We see a lot of gurus, and I have to laugh. I was a guest on a podcast one day, and he said, I have a celebrity on here with me. Well, I just laughed about that because I'm not even close to being a celebrity. But in my niche, I
Yes,
am a little bit of a micro
you are.
influencer. And so
Yeah.
that's how he looked at it.
Yep.
And I thought, great, my marketing is
It's
I mean,
working.
it's
Yay.
doing the work, right?
Yeah.
It's working for me. Yes. And so that's what we're talking about here. And the thing that people need to understand is my goals are very different from gurus that are wanting $1 billion company. That is
Right.
not my goal.
Yep.
And so my goals have to align with what I'm trying to do. But you do need to be doing these things if you're in business and you want to be around for any length of time, because like I said, it's not even negotiable anymore.
Nope.
If you are the best kept secret, you're broke, or you're going backwards and you will soon be broke. And that's just
Yeah.
the way it is.
Yeah.
But you also have to make sure, don't overthink it, in the fact that you think, oh my gosh, well, I don't want to be viral and I don't need
Right.
millions of followers. No, maybe you
Consent.
don't.
Yeah.
But what do you need to be able to grow your business, be around, be seen, be heard? Those are the basics of business. And again, I've been doing that 30 plus years in every business I
Yeah.
ever ran and ever built. And it gave me major platforms and
Yeah.
opportunities to be seen as the best in my industry. And that's what we're talking about here. Do you want to be
You
the
are.
Walmart or the Lamborghini?
Right. I would like to be the Neiman Marcus, please.
That's right.
But
That's right.
before we kind of wrap up, because I know you and I could actually talk about this all day.
I know.
Um,
We should just book an
we
afternoon. There we
might need
go.
to. I think this, let us know if you would like to have an afternoon workshop. We'll block an afternoon. Everyone could hop on live and we'll just talk. We'll let you listen to us chat. But one of the other things that I think is important to remember is, do you want to be the Walmart or the Lamborghini or the Neiman Marcus?
Actually, I should say the cheap used car or the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Is usually the
But
analogy I
but
use. Yeah.
there's an audience for everyone, right?
Hmm.
I still need some things from Neiman Marcus and some things from Walmart. I think that's the piece we get scared of, right? Yes, have your niches, but that's okay. Someone else can do the other thing. And that's how we live in a world where there's no competition and we can all actually work together. When we really define our spot, then we
Yes.
can know, I do things a little differently. You might work better with this person. And now we're
Right.
not even in competition, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I love this. So tell me how someone works with you. Tell me what someone needs to do if they want to work with you. Who is that?
Yes. So I work with people who are already, they have a skill set, knowledge, experience. They are ready to really level up or they're ready to capitalize on that. And I help them do it at a more premium level. So the clients that I work with want to play a bigger game. They want to do things at a higher level. They don't want to be the Walmart. They want to be the Neiman Marcus. They want to be the Lamborghini, not the cheap used car, and they just know that everything that they have is worth a lot more than what they've probably uh, been being able to capture. Or they,
Mhm.
so it's really about helping them work in the best market. I even call it blue ocean, moving them into the blue ocean
Love it.
to be in the best. But it also means putting them in the spotlight in multiple ways, helping them build that really powerful, visible brand, so those big opportunities come to them. And so I'm an A to Z coach, though. I help them with everything from their revenue model
Okay.
to what they're going to sell, what they're going to offer, their packages,
Okay.
and then helping them with all the marketing strategies, how to sell premium and how to get, close other deals, and then how to scale, how to build their team, how to really grow that business to millions of dollars if they want to. So, not just a one trick pony. There's a lot of people so my niche is very set in the fact that I work mainly with professional service entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants,
Yeah.
who want to do that. But I'm, yeah, that
There's
that's,
no
I just lost my train of
Yeah,
thought. So
but
you
there's
can clip
no
that
"and
out,
now what?"
Andrea.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. Or we'll let everybody know how real we are.
That's
We're
right.
all humans. But I think, there's hopefully not a "now what do I do" moment when someone's working with you because you are working with them for
No,
a
no, I
lot of
have
folks
clients
they
that
can.
have been with me for 5 years.
Oh, I love
So
that. That's really
yeah,
cool. That's really cool. Well, thank you so much. We will share your information and how people can connect with you. I can't wait to see the magazine. I
thank
can't wait
you.
to see all the stories that people will have an opportunity to
Mhm.
share there. It's just another platform for people to share. I love that. Thank you for taking some time with me and sharing your Tuesday with us. It's not just a Tuesday podcast. We are here to share stories and connect. Hopefully, you feel empowered and learned something today. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks for having me. Bye bye.
Bye.